Dillon Gabriel is going to be QB2 this week because Shedeur Sanders is going to be QB1. And Gabriel got plenty of runway this season, had about 2 months essentially of starts. What they wanted to do by the end of the season is evaluate themselves thoroughly at the quarterback position and know what they have. And Shedeur Sanders earned another start. At least. The plan has always been to play him, right? That has always been what, from owner Jimmy Haslam all the way on down to Kevin Stefanski, who has been invested in Shedeur Sanders. They wanted to know what they have at quarterback, and considering the plays that he made, putting his team in position to win and actually winning, he has earned at least one more start, and I would not be surprised if he earns even more, Colleen.
How realistic is it to say they give actual consideration to starting Shedeur?
I think it is unrealistic. If you look at the Browns' schedule, it's home against Joe Burrow, on the road against Lamar Jackson, home against Jordan Love, on the road against Jared Goff, then home game in London against the Vikings, then no bye, and you come home on the road against Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. That's a gauntlet. There's no way you're playing a rookie quarterback. Right?
Don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. I'm going to be real with you. What we just heard in that opening clip is not normal NFL business. That's not your usual coach likes his guy, owner signs the checks, everybody smiles for the cameras. That was an insider basically admitting on national TV that the quiet part isn't quiet anymore in Cleveland. The owner didn't just nudge, he didn't just suggest. He stepped right into the football side and said, "Play this kid, now." And when that happens in the NFL, that's a 5-alarm fire. Because think about how often you actually hear this kind of stuff laid out so plainly. Most of the time it's, we're all aligned, we trust the process, we love our quarterback room. It's all canned answers and fake unity. But this was different. This was somebody with real access saying, yeah, the plan was always to play Shedeur from the owner on down. That's not alignment, that's pressure, that's leverage, that's a power move. And that should make every Browns fan sit up a little straighter. This isn't just a debate about who should start week 1. This is about what kind of franchise the Browns actually want to be. Are they a team that lets the football guys make football decisions, even when it hurts? Or are they a team where the owner sees a star in the making, gets impatient, and just grabs the steering wheel mid-drive? You can feel the desperation in this whole thing. You don't force a rookie onto the field if you think everything's fine. You don't go over your coach's head if you're confident in your plan. You do it when you've watched a stale offense, a lifeless locker room, a city that's tired of being told to wait. You do it when you believe this rookie, this one specific kid, might be the only spark big enough to blow the whole thing open. And that's where it gets wild, because it tells us 2 things at once. 1, the Browns are on the edge. This isn't a stable, calm, patient operation. This is a franchise staring in the mirror and not liking what it sees. But 2, it tells us just how much they actually believe in Shedeur Sanders. You don't risk a public power struggle for a guy you think is just another backup. You only do this if you think he can change everything. So, yeah, we heard an insider talk about the plan, about how it was always supposed to lead to this moment. But you and I both know this isn't some smooth, scripted rollout. This is messy. This is emotional. This is a franchise making a bet on raw talent over comfortable politics. And it leaves us with one simple, brutal question. What does it say when the most powerful man in the building believes in the rookie more than the coaching staff does? Let's slow this down for a second and look at where things really stand. Because if you're just joining this story now, you might think this is some simple rookie versus veteran situation. It's not. This is the most complicated quarterback room in the NFL right now. And Shedeur Sanders is standing right in the middle of it. Not because of hype, not because of politics, but because the kid has something nobody else in that building has shown all year. Actual juice. Start with the basics. On paper, Shedeur should have never even been available when Cleveland took him. His college tape was clean. Pocket composure, NFL throws, poise under pressure, a 70% completion rate behind one of the worst offensive lines in college football. We watched him get hit 20 times a game and still drop dimes like it was nothing. That's first-round pedigree. That's franchise quarterback material. But because the narrative machine got loud, because people started whispering about off-field concerns and coachability and all that recycled nonsense, he slid, and the Browns got him for cheap. Now, look at the depth chart he walked into. Dillon Gabriel got every first-team rep for months. Stefanski rolled him out there week after week, even when the offense was averaging 117 passing yards per game, even when he was completing 2 deep balls in 6 starts, even when he ranked literally 39th out of 39 qualifying quarterbacks, dead last. You don't have to be a film guy to see the gap. Gabriel plays safe, conservative. He runs the playbook like he's trying not to break anything. And Stefanski? That's exactly the kind of quarterback he's always trusted. Risk-averse, predictable, easy to scheme. But then comes Shedeur, confident, loose, dangerous. He plays quarterback like the lights don't scare him, like he's been here before. Players notice that. You saw it in Miles Garrett's face after that 52-yard bomb. You don't geek out like that over a project. You do that when you see something real. And this is why fans are reacting the way they are. It's not just because the owner said, play the kid. It's because the kid brought life back into a team that felt like it was stuck in neutral. The schedule ahead? Tough, yeah. Physical defenses, smart coordinators. But Shedeur's style, quick decision-making, strong pocket movement, fearless vertical shots, actually fits better against these aggressive fronts than Gabriel's check-down heavy approach ever did. And that's the truth nobody in the building wants to say out loud. If this franchise was truly evaluating quarterbacks, then the tape already told them everything they needed to know. Let me be honest with you. If Shedeur Sanders makes it in Cleveland, it won't be because things were easy. It'll be because he survived one of the most chaotic, politically messy quarterback environments any rookie has walked into in years. This isn't just pressure from defenses or rookie jitters. This is internal tension. This is dysfunction. This is a kid stepping into a building where the walls are already shaking. Start with the coaching staff. We've all heard the reports by now. They didn't want him. They didn't see him as their guy. They had other prospects circled, other plans, other visions for what the quarterback room should look like. Draft day reactions leaked. A quiet room, a few polite claps. Nothing about it said, we just got our franchise quarterback. And when that's the energy from the people responsible for developing you, that's a roadblock before you ever even put on a helmet. Then you've got the locker room. And this is the part fans never talk about. These guys hear everything. They read the same reports we do. They know when ownership is stepping over the coaching staff. They know when there's a tug-of-war happening upstairs. And when players don't know who's actually calling the shots, trust gets shaky. Alignment gets shaky. The whole culture gets shaky. Guys don't know whether to rally behind the coach or the quarterback or the owner who just dropped a grenade into the middle of the season. And layered on top of all that, the media noise that followed Shedeur from the moment he fell in the draft. Off-field concerns, social media distractions. Is he coachable? Never mind the tape. Never mind the production. Never mind that half the league would kill for a quarterback with his poise and arm talent. Narratives stick. And those narratives don't fade just because you walk into the NFL locker room and put your head down. And let's not ignore the football side of this. His next stretch of games, brutal. Elite defenses, exotic blitz packages, veteran coordinators who would love nothing more than to confuse a rookie and then say, see, he's not ready. Every throw, every drive, every mistake will be dissected like it defines his whole career. But here's the part that keeps me up at night. The politics. Because no matter what Shedeur does, he's stuck in a lose-lose narrative. If he struggles, critics will scream that he was never ready and the owner meddled. If he succeeds, people will say the coach didn't want him and only played him because Jimmy Haslam forced the issue. If he wins big, ownership takes credit. If he falls short, ownership takes the blame. He's not just playing quarterback. He's carrying the weight of a divided front office. He's carrying the expectations of a fan base desperate for a savior. He's carrying the frustration of a coach who didn't pick him and a GM who did. That's not normal rookie pressure. That's a minefield. Most rookies battle defenses. Shedeur is battling an entire franchise's history. The crazy part is this. The moment Shedeur finally stepped onto that field, everything felt different. You could feel it through the broadcast. You could feel it in the stadium. You could feel it in the body language of the players around him. It wasn't fear. It wasn't hesitation. It was energy. Pure, undeniable energy. The kind a franchise hasn't felt in decades. And that's what blows my mind. Before he ever threw a pass, before he ever made his first read, Shedeur walked right up to that sideline camera and said, "I'm who they've been looking for." Do you know how rare that is from a rookie? Most guys try to blend in, avoid attention, keep their heads down. This kid walked in like he knew exactly why he was there. Confidence like that isn't arrogance, it's fuel. And when you mix that with real talent, you get what we just saw in his debut, a historic first start. First Browns rookie quarterback to win his debut in nearly 30 years. A 52-yard missile, the longest completion of the entire Browns season, thrown with the kind of touch and velocity that only a handful of NFL quarterbacks can generate. That was a future franchise guy throw, and everybody knew it the second it left his hand. Miles Garrett knew it. You saw the smile. You heard the reaction. There's not many guys in the league who can make that throw. When your superstar defensive end, the face of your franchise, is openly praising your rookie quarterback like that, that's not normal. That's a culture shift. That's the locker room saying, "Okay, we've got something here." And the fan base felt it instantly. Social media lit up. Browns fans, some of the most battered, exhausted fans in NFL history, were buzzing like they'd just discovered sunlight again. Every clip, every replay, every highlight angle, people weren't just celebrating the win. They were celebrating hope. Real, tangible hope tied to a kid the league tried to label, dismiss, and overlook. And now, look at what's coming. The 49ers, the Dolphins, a revenge game against the Bengals, a duel with Caleb Williams. These aren't just matchups. These are tests, statements, and opportunities. If Shedeur keeps stacking moments, keeps throwing haymakers at teams that slept on him, this season becomes something completely different. Because he's not just filling a spot on the depth chart. He's rewriting the identity of the Browns offense. He's changing the culture of the locker room. He's giving fans something they haven't had in years: belief. They tried to bury him in the depth chart. All they did was plant a seed. I'm going to say something that might sound dramatic, but after everything we've watched unfold in Cleveland, it needs to be said plainly. This moment right here, this could be the turning point. The one every franchise gets once, maybe twice in a lifetime. The moment where everything, the doubts, the drama, the power struggles, suddenly lead to a new era. Because if the Browns stop tripping over themselves, if they commit to this kid instead of making him fight for every inch, if they actually build around him instead of burying him, Shedeur Sanders could rewrite the identity of this franchise in a way nobody has managed since they came back in '99. Think about the arc we just watched. An owner who saw something in him before anyone else was willing to admit it. A coach who didn't want to hand over the reins. A rookie who carried himself like he was already the guy, even when the depth chart said otherwise. A locker room that felt something shift the second he stepped in. And then, the spark, that first win, that crowd reaction, that throw that made even Miles Garrett lose his mind on the sideline. That's not luck. That's not hype. That's the beginning of something. And look, I'm not saying it's guaranteed. Nobody becomes a franchise quarterback overnight. There will be bad games. There will be mistakes. There will be people waiting to tear him down the second he looks human. But every great quarterback story starts with a moment where the entire league looks up and says, "Okay, this kid is different." This might be Cleveland's moment. We've seen franchises transform overnight when they finally find the one. Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts, Kansas City with Mahomes, Houston right now with CJ Stroud. Everything changes when belief becomes real, when fans start to feel something they haven't felt in years, when players start playing harder because they trust the guy under center, when the building stops arguing and starts aligning. And if Shedeur keeps stacking games, keeps proving he belongs, keeps showing that confidence and fire he had in week 1, then it won't matter who drafted him, who doubted him, or who tried to slow him down. Because once a quarterback proves it on the field, nobody, not a coach, not a GM, not even an owner, will be able to stop what's coming next. This might be the moment Browns fans look back on years from now and say, "Yeah, that's when everything changed."